Well, welcome back to Clinical Trader, and it is Friday, the 2nd of December, and it's the end of the week, and we'll just do a bit of a market update for gold and gold miners. You can see on the screen here that we've got the Kitco 24-hour spot gold price, and we've had a really good bounce here in the last 24 hours, probably even longer than that since the Federal Open Market Committee meeting that occurred, what was that? Oh, maybe on a few days ago anyway. But yeah, so the market, certainly the market has responded very well. Actually, it was yesterday, wasn't it, that FOMC report? And the market in America bounced 735 points odd on the Dow Jones index, which is a really big move. It's given some of that back today, but it's a pretty strong move and sort of undermines some of the calls that we've been making here, and of course fundamentals are driving this market with the expectation that the FOMC will begin to taper its rate rising program and pivot. And that's what the market is saying. It's interpreting Jerome Powell's comments that way. And so we got that rally. But gold also rallied, which is interesting because it does indicate perhaps more inflation, perhaps even runaway inflation, which wouldn't be good in the longer term because it does mean that in the end rates will have to go higher, and market won't like that when the talking heads begin to spiel out that sort of information. All right, but anyway, we're looking at the gold market, particularly from an Australian perspective here. So we'll take a look at a few charts and continue on. When I put out an update a few, maybe a week ago perhaps, on the gold miners in Australia on the ASX, and I showed you this index chart. We talked about the neckline of this inverted head and shoulders and how we really needed to see what would happen as we ran into the upward trend here. And of course you can see that I think I mentioned that it aligned with, you know, this support over here and the support over here, and that was supposed to be resistance. So we were expecting a pullback. I think they made the video just in this area in here. I'll make that bigger so you can see it. Yeah, the day we made the video, we were just in this area in here, and we were either going to find support at this point here and go higher. And you can see that that's what actually happened. We got to this previous high, tried to break through it, but sort of couldn't do it, and then came down. You got a little hammer here which sort of rejected that downward move, and of course now we've taken off as of Thursday, yesterday. And so I am expecting that we'll continue this rally from this point, at least for some time, and we may find ourselves quickly up into this area up here. So I may need to bring it over to this area here in order to make sense of this trajectory. I think from there perhaps we could see that pullback, perhaps even back down to the neckline before we do go higher again. It may not get back down to the neckline. You know, ideally with a head and shoulders, inverted head and shoulders breakout, you want to see a bit of price appreciation, maybe some consolidation up in this area, and then go higher after that. That would be your typical sort of breakout, I guess, progression. So we'll wait and see if that happens. Indicators are looking bullish. From bearish to bullish really quickly because we've had this divergence where the price has gone higher, but the indicators have gone lower. So that's a little surprising. And it's quite bullish, the fact that it's rejected what should have been a downward move. So that's really good news for the Australian Gold Mining Index. I've also been a bit surprised because during this march higher in price, we haven't really seen the Australian gold price go higher. In fact, it's gone flat to lower, if anything, over the same period. So again, another indication that this market is just bullish. And while we would have expected it to come back, much like the Australian gold price did, in fact, what it's done is it's followed the US index rather than the Australian gold price. So that's really good news for those holding gold miners at present. Okay, so we'll just take a look at a few charts here because there are some interesting features that have occurred in a couple of the charts, particularly in relation to Australian gold miners. I made mention last video that this chart doesn't have volume, and I spoke about Newcrest Mining and how it has volume. So we'll just take a quick look at that because there is an interesting development that's occurred here. And you can see that very clearly we've got this breakout that's occurred in Newcrest Mining. We can go all the way back here. If we draw this horizontally, so that's pretty close to horizontal there. And you can see that we tried to break out above this point here, but just failed. And it was on good volume too. So you would have expected that we would head lower, and we did. You know, we got back down, almost down to this horizontal support down here. But since then, again, when we made the video, since that point, we've turned around and we've rallied, and we've now clearly broken above the green support line down here, and we've broken above the 200-day moving average with 2 to 3, maybe even 4% up our sleeve with the move that occurred in the US last night. So we would expect that we will continue. And again, I want to see the consolidation above this 200-day moving average before we head higher. That consolidation is exactly what we want to see occurring here. Now, if we get a jet move and head much higher very quickly, in that case, yeah, we'll get the move, but we'd be looking for a bit of a sell signal in order to pull back and buy again on the low, because I do think this longer term picture is going to play out with a bull run. Okay, so that's Newcrest Mining. If we look at NST has been doing, Northern Star that is, has been undertaking a buyback, which means the company's been buying back its own shares rather than paying out a dividend. So you're getting the capital gains rather than a dividend. And you can see that the move has been pretty good. All right, we're up to, what's this here, sitting today at $10.96. I think today we'll find ourselves very quickly hitting this previous high at $11.57. And that might be a point, you know, where maybe we look at taking some profits. But really, the gold market is just so hot right now that it's quite possible we blast straight through it and head to, you know, what's the next stop? In my mind, the next stop looks to be up in the range of about $12.30. Now, possibly even higher. But again, we'll look for what's happening in the market to determine whether or not we need to shed some weight in NST. EVN, another one that we've spoken about in the past. And you can see that's done really well too. It's hit that 200-day moving average. It's also got that breakout that we spoke about with Newcrest Mining. Just draw that in there. And again, today it's going to continue that breakout, which really for me is confirmation that this is the real deal move. And so we could expect, you know, again, that consolidation up here, and then we blast it higher again. So for me, it's a hold. Another one that I've been keeping an eye on, as you know, or if you've been paying attention to my work, is Resolute Mining. And I spoke about, in my previous video, I spoke about how if it got down to this sort of 15.5 cent position, I just dragged that up. This day here was a great buying day, although perhaps at the time you wouldn't have known it because it's a clear breakdown of price. But look at the volume. The volume says it all, really. And it's had follow-up volume the next day, and it's been what was it? It was up to 12.5% yesterday. So I think we're still going to see some consolidation here until we get to that December 5th expiration of the entitlement offer. And I think after that we might see some movement, some proper movement. We need to get above that red line though, as I said. Another stock we've been looking at is Westgold Resources, particularly like this because I don't think the move in its price has occurred, unlike Northern Star. So, you know, we've been consolidating down here at these lows. And at some point we are going to break above, you know, this breakout level. So it's essentially the same line that we've seen on those other gold mining stocks, but Westgold has just underperformed. But I think the fundamentals behind the company look a bit stronger than most people think. And I do expect that they'll, appreciate and break through here and eventually get up through into this sort of $1.30 area where we've got this support over here on the left. And at that point, we might look to shed a bit of weight. Yeah, another one we've been looking at is RMS. And really, this will be the last stock we look at today. There are so many out there, but given that I don't like to have long videos, we just keep it short. Off these lows was a great buy. And of course, we're here today. I think we'll absolutely hit this 200-day moving average today, Friday, at $1. That's probably a point where we might look to shed a bit of weight because it is a round number. It's a 200-day moving average, and it's getting into this area where we've got accumulation of volume. We've broken through the previous support line, which was resistance. Attempted here, broke down, didn't really manage it, but got support down on the what is that? That's the 50-day, maybe that's a 20-day moving average. And it's tried a few times, and now we've just broken out yesterday. So that's quite bullish. And I like the idea of getting up to $1 here. Okay, well, that's today's video. Stay tuned. I will mention that we had Australian gold up $42 overnight and US gold up $33. And that's not currency moves. That's actual buying, and hopefully that's physical buying. Actually, it is paper spot price buying, but hopefully that's being driven by, in the background, some physical buying because their stocks are running low. And we're very bullish longer term on gold and stocks. Have a great day. But now you're out of time. You're out of time.